Well, good afternoon, this is Houndog Steve coming to you on the 2nd of June. And I thought I'd do a bit of a vlog from out in the greenhouse here because it is just such an absolutely wonderful day. And a very warm welcome back to all of you returning to my channel, and a big shout out to any new viewers. Please, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment and subscribe below, and share with your friends if you think the content has some kind of merit. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about a little bit was the uncertain nature of our world today. And things have really changed incredibly in the last 10 or 15 years. And it seems like everything that we thought was secure and real has now been turned on its head and has made us think about everything that we took seriously, that we thought was fixed and solid, our way of doing things, the way we order things, and all of that, as I say, has really been completely turned upside down, and this can be incredibly destabilizing. There's a very good reason why human beings like major notes. They don't like minor notes or seventh notes. They like to resolve on a nice rounded sense. They don't like loose ends. That's why we like to order and categorize things, why we have our books listed by author or one thing or another. We are a very orderly being, and we like that order. Even the most disorderly of us still have patterns and behaviors that we follow on I was going to say in a religious fashion. So we're at that phase in our civilization where we have outlived an awful lot of the usefulness of what got us here, and we're now starting to basically go through that bit by bit, and I guess jettison stuff that isn't going to be required in the future. Now, there are people in this world who have grand designs on how our future world is going to look, and they are modeling it on technocracy. And you know, this may sound like conspiracy theory stuff, or as I like to call it, conspiracy analysis, but we have some big thinkers in this world. The government is certainly one of them. It organizes things down to the finest detail when it comes to how its operations are going to run, even though it seems to be exceedingly off kilter in recent years, and I'm not quite sure why that is, whether it is lack of leadership or whether the plan has just got too complicated, you know, too many committees spoiling the broth and that kind of thing. And there are long-range planners and strategists that work, you know, you see this more especially in wartime, you know, where they plot and plan moves to corner the enemy, to bluff the enemy, to make it look like you're moving left when you're moving right. And this group of people now has the most incredible technology to basically manipulate what you hear and see, and to try and throw as many confusing things into your way as possible, like flat earth, like moon landings, all of this kind of stuff. These things are basically non-arguments and distractions, and they are again a way to throw you off kilter, because I think that this group of long planners, long thinkers, they know that we are in the final introduction of their plan, and at this stage of the game it is very important that we accept this plan. And as you can see, much of this plan involves a lot of surveillance and a lot of control mechanisms being put into place through 5G and other tracking mechanisms, social media platforms and that kind of thing. Okay, here is the full paper, The Psychology of Victory by Colonel Paul E. Valley. And this is from the headquarters of the 7th Psychological Operations Group, United States Army Reserve. And it's a paper from PSYOP to Mind War, The Psychology of Victory. Now, there's a little piece down here. This is where they were in the Vietnam War, and how the PSYOP run by the Viet Cong was basically far more successful than the United States of American PSYOP war was. Okay, and here's what he has to say about the Viet Cong. On the other hand, we lost the war, not because we were outfought, but because we were out-PSYOPed. Our national will to victory was attacked more effectively than we attacked that of the North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong. and perception of this fact encouraged the enemy to hang on until the United States finally broke and ran for home. So our PSYOP failed. It failed not because its principles were unsound, but rather because it was outmatched by the PSYOP of the enemy. The Army's efforts enjoyed some impressive successes, but our own PSYOP did not really change the minds of the enemy populace. So they set about coming up with a method of mind war that would basically undermine the whole psyche of an enemy nation. So this is the key phrase. Psychological warfare is the coordination and use of all means, including moral and physical, by which the end is attained, other than those of recognized military operations, but including the psychological exploitation of the result of those recognized military actions, which tend to destroy the will of the enemy to achieve victory and to damage his political or economic capacity to do so, which tends to deprive the enemy of the support, assistance or sympathy of his allies or associates or of neutrals. So this whole idea of destroying the will of the enemy. And that, my friends, is what we are in the middle of right now, is a mind war. And so most of what you are seeing, most of the confusion out there today, is an attempt to destroy your will to achieve victory, to wipe out any sense of hope that you might have. And that is why I would urge you to remain hopeful at all costs and know that this is a tactic. This is a tactic to break you down so that you will accept the whole globalist manifesto. And they know that much of this is not going to be palatable to the public. And as I say, you can sit and plan a bank robbery, for example, for years and years and years. It's only the 5 minutes that you are in the bank that is important, because that is when the cat is out of the bag and everyone knows exactly what is going on. Now, I don't think everyone knows exactly what is going on in this particular case, but there are more and more people waking up to this whole plan of globalism which is sweeping over the world. And I think the way that they're going to implement these final changes is putting everyone into a state of what they call cognitive dissonance. And this is turning your world upside down, so you don't know left from right, up from down, back from front, to keep everybody guessing all the time as to what exactly is going on. And you can see this, just scroll down your Facebook page and look at the different things that are being presented to you in different ideologies, different ideas, propaganda from left and right. And of course it is interesting that the people who are trying to protect us from being lied to are actually very often the people who are doing the lying. And so, as I say, this is a time when one has to, I believe, center themselves, find out who they are. And one small thing that you could do to try and stabilize is to do something that requires critical thinking. Grow a garden. Take on a building project. Do something that requires logical thought, which forces you to sit down and take steps one at a time to help to center yourself. Because, as I say, we are basically out in space right now. Nothing makes any sense. Nothing that's being done at all makes any sense if you wanted to have a cohesive, functioning society where all members get along peacefully and harmoniously together. You wouldn't be, the media would not be setting people against one another as they are. We would have our infrastructure program in place. We would be fixing the things that are breaking around us, and we would be maintaining the things that aren't broken around us. Any homeowner will tell you that that is the way you look after your home, or whatever it is, the place that you rent. Even if you're in a tent, you still have to do some maintenance and have some kind of order and plan to have that play out. And right now it seems like there is no order to anything except the globalist world order, or the liberal world order. And now I don't say that as necessarily a slate against liberals, because we are so filled with labels today. I don't even think we understand what is going on. It seems to me that the new ideology, or the globalist ideology, is a strange mix of fascism, corporatism and Marxism. And of course, because these people have been learning all along, they've been experimenting with these types of societies, and they've been watching which ones succeed and which ones fail. Now, I really don't get too depressed about this because, again, from what I've seen in my researches, firstly, this is an evolving situation. You know, our whole planet, our whole society, our whole civilization is a whole process of evolution as far as thoughts, ideology, ideas, management systems are concerned. And so, you know, we're paving the way as we go along. We don't always know what the outcomes are going to be. And of course, the dangerous situation for the planners is that when you put everybody into cognitive dissonance, you take the risk that someone else is going to be able to implement another kind of plan. As with the nationalist populist movement, which is burgeoning. You can see all over the world that things are changing very, very quickly on that level too. So we are in a complete state of flux. And as far as you and I are concerned, the main thing is that we have to maintain our sanity in all of this craziness that's taking place around us. And I think it's going to increase, not decrease. And so, as I say, try and find something to center yourself, try and find something that you can bring your mind into logical function so you don't get distracted and don't get pulled in. Don't get pulled in to the divisive narratives unless it is with a neutral voice. And I think you'll find, although it is not so easy to do, but one of the things I did a long time ago is I turned off the television. And I get all of my information now off the computer, off the internet. And yes, there are issues out there in the internet, but I get to choose. I get to do the research. And that to me is far more important. Other important things that you can do is make yourself less dependent on the system. Everything that you can do for yourself, whether it be growing food, producing your own energy, or learning to do without. I think another incredible thing that people can do to center themselves is to volunteer for an organization that is doing something in your community, whether it be a cleanup squad, whether it be a farmers market as I'm involved in, or the horticultural society, or there are literally hundreds of organizations crying out for volunteers. For me personally, I find that volunteering gives my life a sense of purpose. It also puts me in contact with like-minded people and also not so like-minded people. And it has created a lot of really great conversations and a lot of great learning opportunities as we move forward in this brave new world. It's not going to be easy. We have definitely reached a huge bump in the road, and many of the sins of the past will have to be resolved, and we will also have to choose a way forward that works for all of us. And I don't think that the way forward is through spying on people, surveilling people, and a total maniacal control over all of the systems that we have in place today. Okay, well, that about wraps it up. It was a sort of a wandering vlog, but anyway, I hope you take hope and encouragement from this, that we can move forward and that nobody really knows what the outcome of this game is going to be. We have been in an ever-evolving situation as far as civilization and society is concerned. This is nothing new. So do not be afraid, do not be worried. Move forward with certainty. As I say, do things that make you feel positive about what you're doing in the world today, and that will create the kind of change, as simple as that might sound, the kind of change that we want to see in the world today. And when I say, you know, we, I mean just regular folk. I have traveled far and wide all of my life. I have certainly traveled far and wide in the Western world, and I found no matter what borders I've crossed, that most people are basically trying to do the same thing, which is put food on the table and raise a family, have some enjoyable moments, and more positive moments. Yes, more ups than downs, and truly it is as simple as that. And I know that sounds very simplistic, as there are some actually incredibly complex things that have to take place to maintain the kind of society that we want to live in and have some of the luxuries that we are enjoying right now, but they all begin with individuals cooperating together for a common goal. And those things are done to working shoulder to shoulder and having some kind of empathy between the people involved. And that may not solve all of the problems in the world. In fact, I'm absolutely certain that it won't. I'm sure that when we solve these problems, there will be a new set of problems, a new set of hurdles for us to overcome. But if we're moving forward with peace and civility with each other and a respect for our own individualism and freedom of speech, we are definitely moving in the right direction. And I hope that you will all agree and take that to heart. You know, when I look back on my life, really, I don't think I've ever been involved in any kind of serious conflict with anybody or anything. And I don't feel that I've missed too much. Yeah, I've had the odd argument and so on and so forth, but I mean, you know, nothing life-threatening. And I mean that in the sense of war or mortal combat with a fellow human being. And so I really don't think I've missed out on any of those experiences. I would rather pit my wits against the water with a kayak or hiking through the bush and some more natural challenges to test myself. Okie dokie, well, if you have enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe below. I'm sure it was a bit longer than I had planned, but it's a big subject. And I am certainly seeing more than a handful of people who are having difficulty understanding some of the changes which we are going through today. In the meantime, this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant evening, and we will talk to you very, very shortly. See you now. Bye.